battle
yeah.
is going to go on. I
think Sortof's done it.
I think he just might have cracked in. But it's kind of been a non-stop fight. We're almost to 15 minutes now. Again, Alive getting hit by some of those biles. GG sort of takes game one.
Okay. That's a build that we did see used by Sort of against Keen on the same map, actually. Well done by Sort of. It wasn't completely decisive at first. Alive did fight back for a bit, but Sort of kept on. So good play there.
I like that Sort of is mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Who says you got to go to late game? Even if you're Sort of.
No. I mean, that's a legitimate build right now.
And that was a fight that could have gone either way, by the way. I mean, Alive sort of could have held it. There were a few small points. There was a factory that was out where it probably didn't need to be. Had he made a couple more tanks, maybe he sustains there. The Marines definitely were strong enough, but some of those medevacs were picked off, which you really can't allow to have happen.
Yeah, he did lose a lot of medevacs. That is a big point. Like, maybe not microing those quite enough, but again, I still don't feel like Alive is playing poorly today. It's just a tough group.
Yeah, not much else to say other than that. We're going to go to Eastwatch now. Again, Zest waiting in the final match to face the winner of this best of three.
Meliora Esports, Sort of.
One game from the rematch against Zest.
Titan EX1, Alive.
Not winning even a single map so far tonight. Has to be a kind of a depressing place for him. Last year it felt like he might even be able to take home a championship.
Yeah, well, he's just... The thing is, he looks really good in his play. Even though I think sort of, I guess obviously sort of was a little bit better, but honestly, I mean, Alive was doing a good job. He just is not able to close it out. I think when he went on against Trap, you could see Alive prepared well, but the further you got down the tunnel, the farther you got in the build order tree and decision tree, Trap just had an answer. Now, I don't know what late game would look like, assuming that sort of does a more orthodox approach. I'm curious.
I don't think that we'll see another big, massive Roach Ravager type of play here. You know, just even the fact that we have Eastwatch as a map is kind of interesting. I'm actually going to check the map vetoes. I actually have those. Give me a second here, but this map in particular, there's a lot of small chokes that Terran can push through. And those are areas where Alive's type of play, like his timing attack-based style that we see a lot of the time, where he can get maximal damage, right? Because it's very hard to run your units all the way around in flank, especially if you kept your creep off a little bit. So, yeah, kind of... This would, if I would have just guessed off the top of my head the map vetoes, I might have seen sort of eliminating this map. But it's a big map, so I can also see where sort of might like it a little bit more.
Definitely pros and cons for both sides. The Reaper's now coming out. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The, okay, it looks like sort of actually got rid of Acid Plant and Neon Violet Square. So the Acid Plant I get, the Neon Violet Square, that's a really giant map that gives us a lot of long macro games. So, yeah, I guess that's the one that I wouldn't really guess you're seeing sort of get rid of. Anyways, just a little side note. We'll see if Alive can utilize these smaller chokes for a very strong push. A lot of times we'll use siege tanks for those on this map.
Yeah, it's funny with Terran. Sometimes you want to be kind of wide in the open with some of your attacks so that you can fork out your infantry in various directions. And other times you want to be in a really tight, kind of narrow hallway where you can fight and the other player can't really get all the damage out, or they're eating too much damage before they get close to you. Yeah,
well, Marines stack up close together and have a huge damage output based on like their area, right? Whereas you look at things like Zerglings, for instance, you really need a lot of surface area.
Or, you know, as another example is the Roaches. Initially, it didn't look like Alive was going to get busted until those depots were torn down. Because we've seen this happen so many times in games, but if you have a position where your roaches are running around in the back and some aren't doing damage, you're probably going to lose that fight if you have two good players playing. You need a wide berth, and that's why a lot of times you'll see roaches right-clicked past an army. Not A-clicked into a fight, but right-clicked very much past it. They walk right on top of everything, and then all the roaches fire.
That's true. They just, Roach Micro in general, you have to use a lot of move commands with. Just because, like, attack move, they won't get good pairings. You got to eat some bullets with roaches before they attack.
You'll see it with Zerglings as well. Is where that's another right-click before you attack unit, where it's like get them into the middle of the mineral patch.
By the way, a little bit of early game battle mech coming out. Double Cyclone with all these Hellions. Ooh, if he loses these Hellions right now.
Oh my God, sort of is pretty good. But can he get these shots off on these workers? I don't think it's worth it to just lose Lings.
Yeah, especially considering he's making Cyclones right now, it makes me a little bit more questioning as to the choice of Alive. I'm not 100% solid on what his choice is here, but sometimes when you see players, yeah, he's going back, okay, but sometimes you see players go for a lot of Hellions and then throw in the Raven and a couple Cyclones and then do another push.
Yeah.
And the Hellions kind of cover the Cyclones against Lings, and then the Cyclones can do things like shoot down Queens, right?
You know, it sounds weird, but the Hellions are sort of there to tank.
In a way, yeah.
To sponge up some damage. So, seeing those Cyclones there, sort of is aware of what game he has coming up here.
Yeah, I think he really is. He should be assuming that this is mech from here. And of course, there's double armory on the way that third command center is going to finish, and sort of is getting range attack and carapace along with the Roach Warren. So there's a few ways that this game can really start to look from here. Normally, you won't see the Zerg get too aggressive here, just because, you know, if you try to overmake your roaches, you could be in trouble.
Sure.
But if you kind of speedily go up the tech tree a little bit, maybe get Baneling speed and a Hydra Den on the way and go into Vipers, you can kind of have a composition that could stop things. But a lot of times Terrans try to hit before those Vipers are really out all the way. I'm not sure.
Oh Lings coming to the main here. Or the natural, I should say. They can go into the main as well if they want. But this is a lot of worker kills, which means that Alive has to do some serious damage to counterbalance this.
10 SCVs? That's a huge amount of damage.
Now let's see how this push does. It looks like they're going to have to fight the Roaches and the Queens before they can get to where the drones are. Transfuses spread out very nicely here. We have 3 drones killed, but that's where it's going to end as this push is now slowly driven away. You know, it's funny. Sometimes these games are hinged on a Ling run by.
Yeah, they did a huge amount of damage. And
the fact that Assorted won both those fights.
Yeah, right? Like, well, Alive threw the 6 Hellions in before and they didn't really do anything. And and then he had like less Cyclones than he could have had for this attack because he had to remake Hellions, or maybe that was his choice all along, but then he had less shielding for the Cyclones. He didn't cast any spells off of his Raven. And it's like sort of is just in complete control in every way.
The light dims, but
well, is this going to work up here, this little attack?
No.
Or is he just trying to utilize the roaches he already had to get to see, okay, can these things do
I think
anything more?
You poke, you know, you do what you can, but with the double medevac with the Thors, there's no way that you really can do anything here. The Thors can kill all that.
Nothing I love more than seeing Hellbats chase roaches Artosis.
Yep. That's a good one.
Most slow speed chase ever.
I must move quickly.
It's one of the most epic battles.
That's right. The medevacs are going to come around now. We're going to have Thor drops. We have our Thors in fetal position right now. Just little knees tucked up. And
I wonder what's in that medevac. Yeah.
Just imagine it flew too low and hit one of those obstructions.
Oh my God, it would hurt your knees so badly.
Oh yeah. Okay, now here comes that drop. On creep, the Roaches and Ravagers scrambling to get up here.
Ooh, really damaging this Hydra Den. Looks like they will be able to kill it with no problem.
Yeah, and that's one way you can utilize those Thors. Yeah. It's hard, even on creep. Thors do so much damage. Alive tries to poke it again over here. And seeing now that Hydra's been added into the mix. But these Hellions are ultimately picked off. Only 6 drones killed.
And you know what? The Hydras are there, but he killed the Hydras then, so he knows that no attack will come anytime
Oh yeah, excuse me. I said that Den was killed, and I'm like, but I also see that there's Hydralis here, so he knows those units are around.
Well, he doesn't have the Hydralis upgrades yet, so it's like kind of hard to do anything right now.
Yeah.
He's making his Vipers, so that's really nice. And you know what? Like, I wonder if Alive is going to really try to hit this attack with 2-2, right? Because we see this a lot of the time where the Terran tries to max out, and they try to hit when it's Roach, Hydra, Viper. He has some of the right tools. He's making some Vikings to push back the Vipers, because it really comes down to the Vipers. The Vipers have to kind of like help out against siege tanks, or the siege tanks that the Terran have will destroy the whole army almost by themselves. But you know what? Don't forget, he had that Raven that he didn't cast any spells on.
Very true.
So he's actually going to have some interference matrix, and just, you know, maybe he'll be able to disable everything.
By the way, the mineral dump on these Hellions has actually paid off pretty well.
Yeah.
They are continuing to come in here and just damage some drones. Sort of creep spread also looking very good this time around.
Alive has gotten up to 4 bases, and he's got great upgrades. He's starting to get some really quality units out. Okay. I mean, sort of is just about max. And he does have good units. He's going up to Broodlord Tech. But overall, right now, his army, like, is kind of... Oh, I like this move a lot from Sort of. Anything he can do like that right now. Trade out a few of these lower tech units for some damage and keeping your opponent on the defensive.
Yeah, or even some of this more subtle stuff like just denying the gas matters a lot when you're meching, you know?
Yeah.
Alive now with a sensor tower set up here. The Hellions 4x4. They continue to come out here, and it's really impressive because the number of drone kills, look at this, 14 already. And at this point, you know, for Alive, he ends up with its excess minerals. He has nothing to really spend it on other than some of these Hellions that can come out and just continue to knock down drones. The Zerg's investing with the Larva more workers to try to equalize out everything, and that's just less of an army later on for Sort of. And here comes that push, Artie.
Yeah, okay, so he's about 20 supply down right now. But let's see what he gets done with his army. These siege tanks are so crucial. If he can keep the Vipers back, the siege tanks really can clean up. Oh, here come the Vipers from the side, actually. Some great Blinding Clouds go down on the front. A 1 on the back there as well.
Okay, Blinding Cloud blanketed pretty nicely, but still in the back are enough tanks to continue to dish out damage. Alive with, I would say, a fairly favorable exchange. The Vikings, though, still eating a lot of damage. They need to get rotated.
Yeah, the Parasitic Bomb doing a ton right there. The Vikings so low at the moment. And now with Broodlords out?
Okay, had those Vikings actually stayed alive a little bit longer, we might have a different situation, but there's really no easy way to contest this. The tanks are running away. They're not the fastest. Oh my god, these queens kind of get in the way of some of the Zerg's army.
Yeah. Looks like a double medevac drop headed down to maybe divert some of this attention. Broodlord push, definitely a scary one.
He actually might just want to go for it here. I think Alive kind of tripped over himself here with this attack, and he just wasn't watching those Vikings.
He has a ton of transfusions. He has these 3 Vipers with high energy as well. Yeah, he absolutely should try to push something here. Get done what he can.
Okay, the Queen's here for cover, and transfuse are going to keep these Broodlords alive. The Broodlords are alive. There's nothing the tanks can do. This planetary, a key location for Alive to have any map dominance, is being driven away. We also see Sort of hitting down here at the bottom to try to bleed it with some more of these Lings.
There is a little counterattack happening from Alive with that double medevac drop. Looks like he kills off the drones that are in the main base, so a little victory for Alive, but losing this base is definitely not good news for our Terran.
I think, though, Sort of might actually be able to push all the way home here.
Yeah.
And these tanks, if they can't get up the ramp, they will be taken out with just this sheer number of Broodlings and Hydras. Again, the tanks can't really combat the Roach Hydra unless they're in siege mode, but if they're in siege mode, then the Broodlings can once again hit the ground. Great Blinding Cloud there.
Some nice abducts on the Thors as well. The Blinding Cloud is really lasting a long time. Another just clutch Blinding Cloud. And I think that's it for Alive. He's not going to win a single game today.
Wow, and this means even Sort of, while losing his main, is still going to close this game out. Looks like we got a rematch. Artois.
Yes, I think so.
Teslas. GG.
Okay. Sort of takes out Alive 2-0. Pretty convincing fashion. Alive having a bit of a hard time. I feel like there was a couple questionable decisions that game from Alive. What can you do, man? It's StarCraft. It's tough stuff.
Sort of is looking pretty hot.
Well, that was a big issue, if you recall, from his interview earlier on.
I almost forgot. Alive. I feel for the guy, but yeah, I mean, this is a tough group. And there were just some small errors in his play that the other players didn't have. I am a little bit concerned for Sort of. He did seem to, he could have lost all his drones to that Banshee in game 1. He could have had the hold been a little bit better there by Alive. It could have been a different result. Anyways, it's all going to come down to our final best of 3, Zest versus Sort of. We'll be right back.
GSL Season 2, Goddess, Overgrowth. Let's go.
Speak your peace. America's ours. Rise like the towers. Speak your peace. Rain like the showers. We're watching you cowards, all of you cowards.